education and reinvention. All right, so let's get started. So the Cercle des Diamants, who are we? Just to tell you, I joined recently the Cercle des Diamants, and it's been a fantastic journey. I'm very glad I have met Suleiman, who's the president of the association, Fatem Zahra, who's the vice president of the association, and them and all the members are doing fantastic job. So just a reminder of the common values. They are around a mindset of sharing, team spirit, being agile in a world that's constantly changing. The values include kindness and engagement at different levels, and of course, excellence as well. And the mission of the association is to facilitate learning and promote interpersonal skills and leadership and support people all around. It's a nonprofit organization. It's a group of multidisciplinary experts who focus on personal and professional development, and a lot of people who are here to be a source of inspiration to others and be of service. So what are some of the goals? The goals and the
diaporama, please, Lubna, if it's possible.
Sorry?
The diaporama of the presentation.
Yes. Okay, here we go.
Thanks a lot.
Yes. Okay, that's perfect. Okay, I'm trying to remove this because it's bothering me. Here we go. Okay, so the key objectives, like I just mentioned, it's around knowledge sharing and providing tools for personal and professional development through conferences, seminars, training. The association is very keen on providing education, mentoring, and training programs in personal and professional development in various educational settings, both in urban and rural areas. The focus is also on developing specific label of certified training courses, both at the local scale in Morocco, but also with the big goal to expand globally. The establishment of backup programs for people who have projects and are interested in entrepreneurship. They currently have a large community of ambassadors in Morocco and also internationally. And the goal, one of the other goals, is to set up collaborative partnerships that can boost voluntary field actions with the specific targets. Okay, hold on, here we go. So there are 5 committees currently. The first one is around conferences and events. The second one is around training, education, and mentoring. We have another committee that oversees membership, and we have another one that oversees communications, sponsoring, and public relations. Many achievements up until today. They have been offering, I mean, for the past 3 years when they started in 2020, more than 160 conferences. They have picked impactful themes around management, leadership, personal and professional development. The first international online congress on personal and professional development was back in 2021 when they decided to start the association, and the theme was around transforming our present. The second one that was offered in 2022 was around building our future differently, and this year in 2023 the theme is excelling through innovation and reinvention. And you will see that they have invited leading speakers, renowned national and international practitioners and experts, more than 80 guests actually to date, very qualified audience, and big presence on social media. So like I mentioned, more than 80 guests, 160 plus conferences with national and international experts. They're very, very active in running conferences and events every single week all across Morocco, training cycles and workshops and targeted events. Okay, and they also run many caravans all around Morocco, from the north to the south. Okay, and the great thing is that the Cercle des Diamants Association has also benefited from press and news coverage, both on TV, on magazines, and the press. So like I mentioned, the first conference was back in 2021. The second one was in 22, okay, building our future differently. And then the third one that we have started yesterday, we launched it yesterday with Fabienne Jacquet. Today we have Tanya, who will be focusing on leadership and sustainability. Tomorrow we have Soufiane, who will be covering reinvention in the corporate setting. And then on Saturday, we will have Dr. Youssef Abousser, who will be presenting on creativity. And we will end the conference with the panel discussion with 4 experts from all over the world. Dr. Hanan Ben Khalouk, who's actually a friend of Tanya's, and she's both Moroccan and from the United Arab Emirates. We have Hassan Sharaf from Morocco, Rim Kassous from Tunisia, and Dr. Tabah from Morocco. So stay tuned and don't miss any of those conferences. You're going to have a lot of fun. And if you want to join us, make sure to connect with us through social media or send an email to get more information. And without further ado, I'm going to introduce our guest speaker tonight, Tanya Monsef. Okay, here we go. All right, Tanya, thank you so much for being with us tonight. It's really a pleasure and an honor to have you. So Tanya Monsef is an executive coach and business consultant. She's also an internationally recognized leader who speaks boldly about the power of leading from authenticity as a way to create harmony in the world with a focus on gender equity. Tanya has a background of 25 plus years of Silicon Valley high-tech startups and non-profit business success in the areas of finance, marketing, and strategy. Tanya thrives when working with individuals, teams, and organizations to build highly collaborative work environments that achieve high-impact results with an emphasis on startups. And she previously served as an executive director and chair of the board of the Global Women's Leadership Network, a women's leadership organization that empowers women who are solving the world's most challenging problems. She's also an adjunct professor in the Levy School of Business at Santa Clara University in California in the US. She's very active in various community programs and nonprofits, so that's why she connects to the mission of the Cercle des Diamants. She also serves on the board of my own business institute and many others, and she's also global advisor for How Women Lead, the co-founder of San Francisco Turkish Women's International Network chapter, and so on and so forth. So Tanya, welcome. And without further ado, we'll give you the ground to get started.
Thank you so much. It's just an honor to be here, and I love the work of this organization and was just thrilled to be able to lend some guidance and some wisdom around this topic of how do you navigate change and how do you really think about reinventing yourself when there is change. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. So can everyone see that?
Yep.
When I do talks, I really like to have them be interactive. So I know it's never any fun to have someone just talking at you. So really want to have this be an opportunity where you in this next hour will have an opportunity to actually look at where you are in your life, what's happening with you in your life, and how we can start to shift some things so you could actually take something away today. So as we begin, what I would love for you to do is, if you could I'd love to see where everybody is. I spent quite a bit of time in Morocco and have several partners there, so I love Morocco, but I know that we have people from all over. So I'd love if you could change your name to say where you are, where you are located. So mine says Tanya Monsef. If you could add Silicon Valley, I would add Silicon Valley to it, but if you could add wherever you are. And just so that I can be very clear about making this the most meaningful conversation that you're going to have this evening, if you could share one intention of what it is that you want to have happen in this time that we have together, that would be really helpful for me so that I can make sure that I am speaking to you personally. So if you could just put that in the chat.
Superb. So the location, Tanya, you want them to put the location in the chat or next to their name?
What I would do, I would rename yourself. So let me just see if I can do that.
Okay. So you want us to rename? Okay. So
I would rename just to make it easier.
Okay. So.
Okay. All right. Oh, good. Casablanca, excellent. Algeria, excellent. Okay, wonderful. And again, if I could see what it is that, what is you're wanting to get out of this, that would really help me in my talk today, just to make sure. Okay, so the talk today is about reinventing yourself, adapting to a changing world. And I would assume that many of you are here today because the world is changing. It's changing globally. We're seeing all kinds of geopolitical, economic forces being acted upon us. It's changing in the technology space. All of new technologies are happening, and it's happening at a more rapid pace than it ever has. And personally, you may be going through some change. So let's talk today about how you actually can understand that. My goal at the end of this, this time would be that you actually come away with the 4 keys that I see to navigating change. And so before we begin, I like to kind of start off with just a welcome that we can all be together. And we're here in this space that allows us globally to be together. And I want to make sure that we actually can feel together. And so I'm going to use this phrase. It's actually a Zulu greeting from South Africa, and it's Sawubona. And so it's why we gather, right? And I love this quote by Alice Waters that this is the power of gathering. It inspires us delightfully to be more hopeful, more joyful, more thoughtful, in a world more alive. So I'm going to ask everybody to come off mute. I don't know if they can. Are they allowed to?
Yes.
And the way that this works is, at least I live in Silicon Valley, and here you would say hello, and someone would say, hello back, and that's it. This beautiful Sawubona greeting is when I say that to you. If I said that to Lubna, for instance, it would mean that I actually see you, and then she would say back to me, Yebo Sawubona. So I'm wondering if we can just get a quick Sawubona greeting just to kick us off for this evening and have us be together. If you could all come off mute and we'll say it all together.
Suleiman, on peut mettre tout le monde. On peut activer les micros pour dire Sawubona. We're going to say it together. On va tous le dire ensemble, d'accord? Si tu peux, s'il te plaît, désactiver les micros de tout le monde. Parce que maintenant, tout le monde est
désactiver les micros, c'est individuel.
If it's too complicated,
tous les
just
micros.
say it in your car or wherever you are.
You can do it, okay?
Super. Okay. Allez, tout le monde, on va le dire en même temps. We're going to say it together.
Yes.
All right, so 1, 2, 3. Sawubona. Ebo so much.
Sawubona.
Sawubona.
A very special greeting to give to each other. So thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, all the technology. I appreciate it. So just a little bit about myself. I mean, I know Lubna read that big bio, but really for me at heart, I live my life by 3 words. And one is that I live globally. I believe in leadership as the way to move the world, and I do everything in community. So when I am assessing a job that I'm going to take or people that I have in my life, these are the 3 values that I live by. And these are just some of the things that I do. I'm very, very passionate, work very deeply with entrepreneurs around the world, especially in the area of social entrepreneurship and social impact. I'm a mom, I'm a friend, I love nature, and I call myself a celebration queen. So when there's a party, I'm the girl that you're going to invite because I love to celebrate anything, whether it's for me or somebody else. Okay, so today we're going to talk about the 4 keys to reinventing yourself in a changing world. And to me, there's really 4 of them. And the first is just embracing it. Like, okay, it's changing. What do I have to do? The second is developing a growth mindset, really thinking about what are the thoughts and beliefs that I have to have in order to get through this change. The third is connecting with your purpose. And the 4th is engaging your network. All right, so we'll go through these today. So I just, was really thinking about all of what's happening in this world. And there is definitely change happening globally, major migrations happening all over the world, everywhere, every continent, it seems like. We all know that the climate crisis is really something to reckon with, and that it's affecting a lot of communities. Inflation across the globe is raging. I put Silicon Valley Bank because while that is just where I live, it is having global ramifications. We have the activity happening in the Ukraine. We had the coronavirus. I mean, we've had a lot of things happening that have caused, if you own a business or you are in your personal life, for you to have to navigate different things. We're seeing huge changes technologically. ChatGPT 4.0 just came out. We have AI, we've got Web 3.0, we've got NFTs, we've got self-driving cars, we've got flying cars, we've got robots, we've got the metaverse. I mean, a lot is happening, and the rate of change that we're seeing is unprecedented in the world of technology. In Silicon Valley, we talk about things doubling every year. I just read a stat that said that 90% of the world's data in our lifetime has just been captured in the last 2 years. So if you can imagine, if you can just even get your brain around what is happening and all of these changes that are happening, and having to learn new systems, having to learn new technologies, it's a lot. And then we also have personal changes going on in our lives. Maybe we just got married. Maybe we had a baby. Maybe we're moving somewhere new. Maybe we're changing jobs. Maybe we're having a health crisis, or we're caring for somebody that has a health crisis. So there's all different things that are happening. And what I like to say is that change can happen around us. So those outside forces of technology and the global landscape, I might not have any say in that, but it's happening around me. And it might happen personally to me, right? And I might have welcomed that, or I might not welcome that. I'll give you an example just from my own personal life. About many years ago, I was diagnosed with a very severe health issue. And I was very healthy. I didn't believe it. I started arguing with the doctors. You know, it just happened to me and I was not ready for it and I resisted it every minute of the day. And then we can also initiate change, right? Like I might decide I want to move to a new city or a new country, or I might want to get married, or I might want to have kids. There's all different things, or maybe I want to make a change in my job. Whatever it is, I also have control over some of the things that change. And you can see the different layers of change. And sometimes I think when I work with people, I see that they conflate these things. They kind of combine them. They kind of feel like the world is against them, and then they're forced to make a change. But it's important to kind of think about, well, what is really in my control? What is it that I really have the ability to either work towards, either to get out of it or to embrace it and to move with it? And I love these two quotes. We'll talk a little bit about comfort zone in a little bit, but you never change your life until you step out of your comfort zone. And change really begins at the end of the comfort zone. So I gave you that example of me being very, very sick. And I just resisted it and resisted it. And because I resisted it, I wasn't changing and addressing the things I needed to do. And I was too scared to do it, is really the truth. So just invite you to be thinking about your own life. Where is it that you're navigating change? And if you have a piece of paper, I would love for you to just even jot down right now, where are some areas in your life where change is happening? And can you determine, is it happening around you? Is it happening to you? Or did you initiate that change? So I'll just give you a minute to just jot down some notes. And then I love this quote, there is nothing permanent except change. Nothing is permanent except change. The only constant is change. Change is the only constant. Change alone is unchanging. And for those of you who are resistant to change, maybe even a new paint color in your house, or maybe wearing a new color, clothing, it's important for you to see the areas of your life where you actually, how it is that you're reacting to change. So just a little exercise for you to just be thinking about. All right, so that embracing change, right? I asked you to in the first key, think about where it is in your life that you are in a change, and maybe you want to write down, am I embracing it or am I fighting it? Just so that you know. But the second is that we need to develop a growth mindset, recognizing that, like I said, all these different areas of change. The first thing that we need to do is to embrace it. And then the second thing is to develop this growth mindset. And I'm very blessed to live in Silicon Valley, where failure and change are very celebrated, right? It's always about failing fast so that you can get to the next level, right? And that's really what a growth mindset is. It says, hey, things are changing. I may not like it. It may not be the best thing, but I'm going to look at it as an opportunity to grow, versus a fixed mindset that might say, gosh, somebody did this to me, kind of like the reaction I said to you about my health, right? I'm just going to give up. What's the point? Or going hard at it the other way, right? And fighting against it and not embracing that change. So again, right, thinking about where it is that you are and whether or not you embrace a growth mindset or a fixed mindset. And I love this graph, the comfort zone graph. And if you see, right, on the left-hand side, where the comfort zone is, where you feel safe and in control. And that's really about what not changing is feeling safe and in control. The next step is the fear zone, right? I find excuses. I might not be sure of what I'm going to do. I might even battle a little bit. I might listen to other people's opinions and not really look at what my opportunity is. The next is the learning zone, right? Really thinking about, how can I think about acquiring new skills, It might even be a mindset to just deal with what I'm going through. And then the final stage is this growth zone, right? Where you're really finding purpose, you're living your dreams, you're setting new goals, and you're seeing a way forward for yourself. So what I'd like you to do right now is on that change process that I asked you of what you're in, where do you find yourself in this framework? Are you, I'm going to take it back.
بنتي ساعات faire quelque chose. ياك ما هرستيها ولا ينطخس ولا شي حاجة. بس ça te fait mal, il fallait qu'il vérifie.
Oh, I will mute the
No
microphone.
problem.
It will be better.
No problem.
Or to not be disturbed. It's down now. You can unmute your mic, Tanya, if you don't mind.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. Appreciate you helping with the technology. So where do you find that in that change process that you're in right now? Where are you on that graph? Are you in the comfort zone? Just like ignoring it, like it's not going to happen to me. I'm not going to have to think about any of these things. I don't have to worry about the climate crisis. I don't have to worry if my money is safe. Are you in a comfort zone? My job is okay. I don't like it, but it's okay. Are you in a fear zone? Are you resisting this change? Are you noticing that you're resisting? Or are you in the growth zone? So just think about it a little bit. And what I'd like to invite you to do also is to be thinking about not just right now, but many of us have found ourselves on this continuum. And I just want you to highlight for yourself, how have you in the past shifted between these zones? Like when you found yourself in a comfort zone, what caused you to get to a growth zone? And what can you begin to notice about yourself? So for me, I will tell you, like, for me, it's just the recognition that I'm fighting something. And when I'm fighting something, I know that I'm in fear, in that fear zone. So it's just a reminder to me. And sometimes a friend can help me do that, or a coach can help me see that. But there's some best practice that you probably have. My best practice is that I have, trusted friends in my network and my community that I actually work with to get through those things. So if anybody has any in the chat they want to add, I'd be happy to, I'd love to see what you guys have. If not, just keep notations of kind of what it is that you have in your toolbox to be able to share for yourself.
So Tanya, what's really the limit between the comfort zone and the fear zone? Because sometimes I just feel like there's a very subtle difference, right? And now that you're describing everything in more details, I'm wondering which one it is for those areas of my life.
It's a great question. So sometimes you can be in the comfort zone and you get pushed a little bit into the fear zone. A lot of times you'll bounce between them. So you'll be in the fear zone and you don't like it very much because it's uncomfortable, and you'll go back to the comfort zone because it's just easier.
Mm-hmm.
So these two, you're right, they can be very similar. For me, sometimes the comfort zone doesn't have fear. It's like a complacency. I'm just happy. I'm just cruising along. And I want to be really clear on one distinction. I think some people think you have to suffer to get through these zones. And like, I got to push really hard. It's not necessarily about that. The comfort zone isn't that I have to push. It's being very clear about what my vision is and be in an alignment with my values so that I can then move out and go into the learning and the growth zone. So once I'm clear about what it is, and I told you I have those 3 words. So when I find myself in a situation, like a work situation, like I'll just use, where I don't have those 3 needs met, I'm usually not happy. I'm either in the comfort or the fear zone. And it's very easeful for me when I get into the learning zone, because I'm learning new things, but I'm in alignment with those three values that I have.
Mm. Yeah, that's a very good point, because usually when we're aligned with our values, then we stop asking ourselves questions and we can make decisions much faster, right? Because we feel okay, we feel aligned, then the decisions come much easier.
Yeah.
Thank
So
you.
Somani, I see the comfort zone and fear zone for you. Thank you. Yeah, it's it is. I think a lot of us spend our time there, especially for me when I watch the news. Even very easy for me to stay in the fear and the comfort zone. Mustafa, thank you. Fear zone for you. And I don't know, is there something you're going through in this change that is going to have you look at that? It's important to know where you are, right? That's the exercise that's really valuable here.
Tanya, does it make sense to be in the 4th zone at the same time? Because I realize I'm on the 4th zone. I'm in comfort, the fear, the learning, and the growth zone. So
is the learning zone? Is it a little fearful because it's new? Is that where the learning? Is that where they are together?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So you're coming out of the fear zone and moving. You're coming along the spectrum.
But
so
from time to time,
recognize that this is natural, right?
Mm-hmm. But from time to time, I realize that I'm still in my comfort zone. So but I know that it's I try to go out of my comfort zone, because I know that I can find the better things out of this comfort zone.
Yeah. Yes. Exactly. And I'll just share. I think it's helpful to hear examples. In the example I gave you about my health, my comfort, the way that I knew that I was staying in the comfort zone and the fear zone was I was trying to prove a point. I didn't believe the doctors.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was so busy fighting with them that I wasn't open to the things that they were actually telling me. So again, like in work or, even with a partner at home, if you find yourself in a defensive mode, oftentimes you're probably trying to stay in that fear and comfort zone versus being open to listening for what's there for you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. These questions are really great.
Thanks for the answer.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So we're going to do this little exercise we're going to do next is one of the things that I find when I work with people is that they are very disconnected from what gives them life. Why are they here? And sometimes these are very big questions to ask. And we're going to do just a little 5-minute exercise that's going to have you get connected with your purpose. And this is number 3, which is connect with your purpose to navigate the change. If you think about a boat, right? I lived in Istanbul, right? And I would go on the ferries, and sometimes it would be a stormy day and you're being thrown around by the water. If you think about all the events that are happening when change is happening to you or around you and not initiated by you, you can kind of lose your bearings, right? So I like to think about a ship that's navigating its way, like on the Bosphorus in Istanbul, but finding your way as you're navigating this change. So what I'm going to have you do, if you could get a piece of paper out if you don't have one already, and I'm going to ask you some questions, and I want you to not think about those questions for very long. I'm going to ask you 5 questions, and I'm going to give you just about 30 seconds for each one, and you're just going to write whatever comes up. If nothing comes up, ask yourself again, but don't get too stressed out if you don't actually get an answer. So the first question is around passion. What makes you come alive? And it could be running on the beach. It could be sitting on the beach. It could be, helping out a family member, caring for your child. What brings you joy? You can write down those things that when you are doing that, you feel most alive. And I don't know how to pronounce this. Rabea, he said reading and swimming. she, I'm sorry, I can't see the picture. But yes, so things like that, anything that makes you come alive, that brings you, what brings you joy is another way to say that. And then the next question is calling. So why am I here? All of us have some bigger purpose in this world. You don't have to know how you're going to do that, but all of us have a sense for what is special about us. What is it that I'm called to make happen in this world? We live in this earth very, very short period of time. If we're lucky, maybe 100 years we're here, and the earth has been here a very, very long time. So it's just a little blip. But in this time that you have, what is it that you're called to make happen? Why are you here? Thank you. So Lonnie wrote, promote positive change. Beautiful. And then the next is talents and gifts. So what do you come prepackaged with? So when you came into this earth and you were born, what was it that you could do naturally that maybe other people even couldn't do, that you didn't know, that you just, somehow it was just natural for you? I'll give you an example for myself, my own life. It's very easy for me to connect with people. I really enjoy people. It's very easy for me to talk to people. I am genuinely interested in what they say. Nobody told me how to do that. Nobody taught me how to do that. That was just a natural talent that I have. I also have, like, I think a natural intelligence. I love to read. I love to learn new things and see different things. So those are just some things for myself that I came prepackaged with. These would be the things that your uncle or your aunt or your grandmother or your mother said, gosh, you are so good at this. And then Mustafa, you are really good at this. Like, this is your thing. So just think about it that way too, if nothing comes forward. I find that with women, by the way, just this is a very general statement. Women have a harder time speaking what they are good at. So for those of you that are having a hard time thinking about your talents and gifts, I really encourage you to step out of your comfort zone and step into a learning zone. Number 4 is legacy. What do I want to be remembered for or by? And many of the people think of this as like, well, when I leave this earth, what do I want to be remembered for? But I want you to be thinking about it differently. So if, for instance, Anwar was not in a meeting today, and they weren't there to contribute and share, people would say, gosh, we really missed Anwar's contribution. Like, we really would like, we really miss it. Or, you know, if you were not at a dinner party, or if you are at a meeting, what is the legacy that you want to leave in that meeting? So don't think about it as something so far out that, you know, I don't know what's going to happen, what we're all going to be remembered for, and it might not matter at that point. So if you own a company, if you're an entrepreneur, or you're in service in some way, what is it that you want to be remembered for? And how do you want people to experience you? Is another way to say that. And the last is, I really believe in this idea of stewardship and service as it relates to your purpose. So it's kind of in America, we say a pay it forward. So what is it that I have learned that now has shaped and equipped me to actually be part of my, you know, to actually exemplify my purpose? So I'll give you an example. I'm a first-generation American. My father's Iranian and my mother is German. And so I grew up in America in a very confusing kind of way. Am I American? Am I German? Am I Iranian? And because of that, I had to adapt. So I might be in a room with Persians and I have to navigate a little bit of the language and the culture there. I might travel to Germany to visit family and I have to navigate culture there. And then I had my friends when I was young, and I had to be a cool teenager, and I had to figure out how to do that with parents who were not from America. But what those experiences allowed me to do, and I think one of my really, really good skills is I can go into any boardroom, I can go into any cultural environment and feel very comfortable in showing who I am, but also navigating and reading the room. So I can politically understand what's happening in a room. So there might be some experiences that you have that do that. Maybe you moved from your home country and you had to, figure out how to navigate things. You might have built resilience. There's all different things that might have been a result of maybe even some pain points in your life. So think about what are some things that you, as you have grown up and grown into who you are today, what are experiences have shaped you for today? So we're going to stick with that for just a minute. So for those of you who are like, where are we going with this? I didn't get it right. Don't worry. Don't have to have it right. It doesn't have to be paragraphs. I just want a little few sentences. But I love this quote. I'm just going to read it before we go to the next slide from Howard Thurman. Do not ask yourself what the world needs. Ask yourself what makes you come alive, and then go do that, because what the world needs is people who have come alive. And I'll tell you just as I live near Stanford, and I remember being with the Stanford admissions people, and as a parent of college age kids, we asked them, like, well, what can we do to get into Stanford? My son did not go to Stanford, just to be clear. And the lady said, look, we want you just to be the best at whatever you are. If violin is your thing, play the violin. Like, don't do 20 different things. Do the thing that you do that makes you come alive and that you really, really do well. So, okay, everybody got that so far? You're all with me? Yes, be unique is exactly right. Okay, so we are going to do a very quick purpose statement. It's the 3 things you have to do. It needs to be brief. I don't want a paragraph explaining this or that. It needs to be crisp, and it needs to be concise. And crisp means like to the point. And I'd like it to be 10 words or less. So I put a couple examples here. Lead a life of impact for a cleaner planet. Mine is support and assist people to reach their full potential. So very simple. So I want you to take just a moment and write out a short purpose statement. And I'd love to see them in the chat. Or if someone is brave enough to come on and speak it, I would love that as well. And it doesn't have to be perfect. You can keep wordsmithing it. And this would be something when I go into a networking event, as an example, I don't tell people what I do. I speak this purpose statement. So if someone says, well, what do you do? And Ludna read my bio, which I do a lot of different things. But really, at the core of it, I support and assist people in reaching their full potential. Can I see a few?
Okay, who wants to share?
Yeah, does anybody have one that they want to share? We could even help wordsmith it if you're not sure. Oh, okay, Kamar, energized by making a positive impact. Okay.
Okay.
Anybody else want to share? Oh, grow my knowledge and share it with people. I love that. Okay, that's great. So what I love about that is it's about you, but it's also about who you are in the world, right? So it's not that you're hoarding this knowledge. You're also sharing it with the world. Thank you. Anybody else want to share one or speak one?
Yeah, let's see.
It's like,
I can share mine. Mine is close to yours, actually.
yeah, okay.
Yeah, no wonder, right?
Yeah, that's how we connected. Yes.
Yeah, mine is to be a source of inspiration to people around me and help them reach their full potential. So.
Okay. All right, so I'm going to take it Fatima, to be an awakened call for many people. Mustafa, assist people to reach their full potential. Excellent. So I'm going to take it one more. I think sometimes people get stuck on the words and maybe get tripped up a little bit. So I'm going to have you, I think it's sometimes helpful to have like imagery and metaphors. So I'm going to ask you to maybe reword it in a way that might bring it to life a little bit. So the example I have here is, I'm the dynamite that transforms people's lives, right? That's one of my partners that I do leadership programs with. That's hers. She is a firecracker, like she comes in like fire. So she says, I'm the dynamite. So in your mind, that kind of does something for you. For me, I'm the lighthouse. So if you think about a lighthouse that shows people the way, I'm the lighthouse that guides people to their dreams. So play with that for just a minute. See if anybody can come up with an interesting one. So Halia, my goal is to be able to help others in the right way. Jihani, help people to liberalize their potentials and grow together. Rabea, understand myself to understand others. Okay. Anybody have a poetic or a more image-based one that they want to share? I've seen ones with lions, I'm the roar that they said, but I've seen all different kinds. Okay, so we're gonna bring people to freedom to take the lead in their life. Excellent. Does anybody have one? Abduram, live in the moment, here, now, focus on the action, not the result. Excellent. Yeah. Can get lost with that, with the action versus the result, not the action. Anybody want to try one? Oh, I love this, Fatima. Enlighten the other's path. Yeah. So play with this a little bit. This is just another tool that you can have. Again, what I see for people, especially in the midst of a big change, is they've lost their way a little bit. And so if you can really, really, really get your purpose statement clear and if possible, poetic, that's great. Kamar, I love that. 1% better every day, right? That's very doable, right? 1%. We can all do that. Thank you for the inspiration. Okay, so that's a little bit on your purpose. Sorry, let me just go back for a second. That quote, cover that by the chat. Maya Angelou said, my mission in life is not merely to survive, but to thrive, and to do so with some passion, some compassion, some humor, and some style, right? So I think sometimes we think of, purpose as this very noble, it has to be very serious. And I think I put that in there because I want you to see, right? This is your life that you get to live. If you have a very playful or humorous side, like bring that into your purpose in some way. Okay, and the last point that we have here is want you to engage your network. So anytime that there is change going on, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. It's an African proverb. You have to have a network of people who can support you. Any change that you're going through. And that's why, I'll just use the positive one, like at a wedding, that's why there's so many people to witness this couple coming into union together, right? It's because they need that network. I've been at weddings where they actually bless the couple and say, hey, we are promising to support this couple through their journey, right? That's their network. So whether that's at work, whether that's in your entrepreneurial journey, whether you're a politician, wherever you are, you need a network. And I like to think about this idea of it's, really about collaboration. And so, you want to be productive and you want your team to feel empowered. So for those of you who are leaders of organizations or even leaders in your own family, right? That sweet spot is when those two can be together, right? When they're feeling productive and they're feeling empowered, things can happen and things can move ahead. Great things in business are never done by one person. They're done by a team of people. That's from Steve Jobs. Ideas themselves are worth a dime a dozen, if worth anything at all. It is in the collaborative space that ideas gain momentum and come alive. And Kofi Annan wrote that. And I think, different cultures see networking differently. And so I thought it was important to kind of put what I mean by this. I don't mean, I think sometimes people are afraid to network because they think they're in competition with someone. I think it's really important to look for the areas where you can compliment someone. So, and I don't mean compliment like saying, oh, you look pretty in that red dress. I mean, compliment like, what skills do you have and what skills do I have and how could we work together so that we're not competing against each other, we're actually working together, more of an abundance mindset. It's supporting, not sabotaging. So it's, if somebody asks you for support, it's saying yes versus kind of undermining what they have to say. And I think celebrating, right, versus criticizing, not sitting in a back room saying, oh gosh, did you hear this idea that so-and-so has had, that sounds terrible. Maybe you actually help them think about their idea. So celebrating it, but not criticizing it. So I would love to, and I don't know if we have enough time. Do we have time? I would love to put people into a breakout, but I don't know if we have time for that.
For how long?
I was thinking 7 minutes, but I have like another 5 that I want to do. So we might not have time to do that now.
I think we should be fine. Suleiman.
Yes, we can do it.
Yeah, we can
It's
do
fine.
it.
Yep.
I would put them in groups of 3.
Okay.
And what I would recommend is maybe speaking your purpose if you have it, and then sharing where in my life or career or leadership journey could I use some help? Like I'm really struggling with something, and or how could I offer help? And I would really encourage you to like get someone's phone number, like keep these people close to you. The people that are on this call today came here for a reason. They're all like-minded people. So they're the first people you can add to your network. So do you think we could do 7 minutes, maybe 3 people in a group?
Yep.
Okay.
Okay.
So go ahead.
Okay, welcome back, everybody. I always feels like that's the fast way to come back. It was always too much, too fast.
Yeah.
Okay, you had the opportunity to talk with some people in our group. I'll share, which was really nice. Sarah shared that she's in the midst of a big change, and that the comfort zone to growth zone graph really helped her see where she was. She didn't know it, but she was able to see that she was maybe sabotaging her change at some point as well. And then the other thing that I thought I'd share, in her imagery, she's going to use water for her purpose. And I was telling her I love the idea of water, because water always finds a way. As she said, it's very flexible. It always finds an easy way it finds the easiest way to get through. So just, again, encourage you to spend some time thinking about these metaphors. Okay, I'm going to go back to my PowerPoint really quick so that I can get you guys out. I just wanted to, I went through the four keys. So embrace the change, right? And then go to a growth mindset, connect with your purpose, and network. And I'm hoping that maybe you met somebody new that you didn't know that maybe you can now be in contact with. And I just thought I'd give you a few other inspirational reminders just as we close. I gave you that graph with the circles in it. This is another one. We all know how to drive. So if you think about the comfort zone as just being parked, you're sitting in the driveway, you're not going anywhere. In fear, you actually are in neutral, or you started the car, but you're either in neutral or you're in reverse. You're actually going backwards. And learning, you start to ignite and you start to drive. And in the growth, you accelerate. So that's another metaphor for you to kind of think about, just, what these different zones are. And that's what I said. Sometimes you'll go from fear to comfort because you go in reverse a little bit. The other thing too, that I think in this growth idea, when you're going through a change, it can feel really uncomfortable. And there's a natural inclination, especially with social media, to compare ourselves to other people. And so I love this graph where there's a flower, but the roots are very weak. And then the other one where there's no flower, but the roots are very deep. So just honor your process. You don't know what someone else is going through. You can't compare it to what you're going through. So just know that what you see visibly above is not necessarily what's happening below for you or for them. And then I think oftentimes, we think of growth as a straight line. And for those of you that are entrepreneurs, this journey that it's never a straight line. It might graph that way, but it's usually like this. And again, this is a little bit with the comfort zone. At the comfort zone, nothing's happening. There's no growth. And then as you're going through the change, it's zigzaggy. The road is not straight. And then you might even go through some discomfort, whether you're in knots, and then you'll have compassion and wisdom for yourself at the end. So again, just a little bit of another visual for you. And then I really like, and I would love if you can type into the chat, for you to put into the chat at least one takeaway, something that you're taking from our time together today that really touched you. It could be something you learned, some new piece of knowledge, some new data. It could be something that you felt, some change in your own emotions. And hands would be some action or tool or strategy that you took. So if you could put just one thing in the chat that you've learned from today, that would be really great. It's always helpful to see what other people learn too, because I think it's interesting to see. And I would also encourage you not just to put it in the chat, but actually to write it on that piece of paper, because you'll forget tomorrow just naturally. So one thing that you're taking away, something that you learned that you didn't know about before, something that changed your philosophy. So Dr. Lubna, reminder that I cannot sit for too long in a comfort zone. Yeah, thank you. Anybody else want to share something that they're taking away from our time together? I'll let you do that. And then, oh, Kamara, I liked the articulation about the car in terms of the comfort zone. Yeah, it's a different way. It's nice to hear it differently.
Yes.
Beyond, nice reminder that we could be in multiple zones at once. Just the percentage could vary. Yes.
Yeah.
Suleiman, the only constant is change. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Indeed. All right. Yeah. Thank you, everybody. Thank you so much for your time today. It has been my pleasure to meet you virtually. I would love to stay in touch. My LinkedIn profile is there. You can check out some work that I do on the website. And just let me know if there's anything I can do to ever support you, and blessings to you. And I can't wait to see the rest of the conference. And congratulations to the organization for really putting together a really quality program for everybody. So.
Superb.
Cheers. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Tanya. Thank you. Thank you for your time. And thank you for joining us from across the ocean. I'm usually closer to you, but this time I'm super far. So thank you. This was like really nice way to remind us, about the basics, like having a mission, remembering our purpose, our values, because when we go through transition and we're thinking about reinventing ourselves and moving to the next step in our life, in our career, in our relationships, or any other area of our life, I mean, it's important to at least make an assessment of where we are in those different zones to make sure that we're constantly advancing, right? We don't want to stay in the comfort zone for too long. We can feel the fear, but at the same time, we need to go past that fear, because otherwise there will be no advancement, right? So thank you so much for those quotes and for those reminders. I very much appreciated every piece you shared with us today.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Okay. Any questions? Do we have any questions? You can either raise your hand and take yourself off mute, or you can draft your question in the chat.
I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Yeah. Fatem Zahra, please go ahead.
Yeah.
You're on mute. Here we go. Fatem Zahra, can you? Here you are. Hello?
Okay.
Perfect. Yes.
Okay. Thank you so much, dear Tanya, for your excellent conference. We learned a lot with you, and I appreciate many parts of your lecture. Really, what I loved is what you said about embracing change. So you said to embrace change, we have change happens around us, change happens to us, and change happens by us. And I would like to say as well, change happens for us. Why to say this?
Yes.
Because when we change our perspectives about change, we can consider it as a gift, as something offered, as something given by the universe. And when we perceive it like this, we cannot develop in ourselves this defensive posture. We will be more open up to change, we will embrace it, and we will integrate it into our daily life. And in that way, we will not feel the heavy of this change, because we would like to empower ourselves, empower others, and empower our learning curve. So my question for you, what kind of tools, simple tools, or some tips that you can share with us to make us more in acceptance of this gift of change around us, and how to make this change be seen as something given and offered to us as a gift. Thank you so much.
By the way, thank you for that. I love that distinction. Thank you for saying that. I think for me, the power in that is forgiveness. So usually when something, I might be reading into your question, but if a gift has been given to me, I sometimes don't see it as the gift when I get it. It takes me a little while. So in retrospect, I might see it. So I think for me, it's recognizing that whatever change is happening is neither good nor bad. I think sometimes that we associate a feeling or an emotion with the change that's happening. And so if you can keep it in a neutral position, like it's not necessarily good, it's not necessarily bad, right? There's plenty of biblical and I think even in the Quran, there's some stories of like a story of where someone asked for a horse and they got the horse, but the horse really actually ended up being right. If you can keep the change as neutral of not being good or bad, I think that's the path. And then if you do get down a path where you really get stuck in the fear zone and you can't move past it, there's usually a process of forgiveness that needs to take place. Because even in the deepest despairs that you can have, forgiveness is the way out.
Okay.
So
okay.
There's a doctor actually at Stanford who studies forgiveness, and he has a book. His name is Dr. Fred Luskin. And I love the way that he talks about forgiveness. He went and studied women that had lost their children in Ireland to the IRA bombers. So they were, their children were killed, and these women could forgive, and he couldn't understand how they did that. He studied it actually from a physiological standpoint, like he works in the Stanford Medical School. So he looks at blood pressure and those types of things. But he has a very good process, and he has YouTube videos as well. So for me, he's probably one of my favorite teachers of forgiveness, because I think he explains it in a way that's it's again, this kind of neutrality and looking for the gift in whatever happened in your life.
Okay.
Thank you for that distinction. It was a brilliant, brilliant question. Thank you.
Thank you, Tanya. Thank you.
I really appreciate it.
And if you don't mind, excuse me, if you don't mind, when you talk about forgiveness, how can we allow to ourselves this permission to push up our ability to cross from one zone to another zone? Because forgiveness is a global, it has a global meaning. So what kind of connection do you make between this forgiveness and the permission, the self permission to go beyond every zone and to be more in tolerance, in acceptance of every thing that could happen and could be perceived as a change for us?
Yeah. So you asked, you used the word acceptance, which I love. So I don't mean forgiveness in the religious term. I don't mean it in, is it a sin or is it not a sin? I don't even mean it in the judicial term, like should someone go to jail or not go to jail? I look at forgiveness as actually a gift for yourself. So because I forgive someone doesn't mean I forget or excuse what they did. I release the anger or the negative emotion I have associated with a person or a situation. So it's a path of freedom is how I look at it for myself. And ultimately what it comes down to is exactly what you said, the word acceptance. So it's acceptance and compassion, right, for yourself. And in that moment, you might not be able to have that compassion and that acceptance. It might take some time, but that's also compassion for yourself, right? Is to just pay attention. It's okay to feel feelings. It's okay. I'll just use the example of Dr. Fred Luskin that really changed my mind. So in Silicon Valley, we have a lot of traffic. I know a lot around the world, there's a lot of traffic. And he said, there might be 10,000 cars on the road. And one guy or one woman cuts you off and you put all your energy into that one person. And the 9,999 other people didn't do anything, but you're focusing all your energy and anger onto that one person. That person, first of all, may not have even seen you or may not have done it maliciously, maybe they did, but you don't know. But because of the way that you're holding what they did to you and not accepting that, okay, well, that guy just passed in front of me. Maybe he did, maybe he didn't, but it's what you make it mean. And again, right, that's that compassion for yourself. And that's the freedom for yourself, right? It's you could hold on to that for days and that guy has no idea that he did anything. And by the way, he doesn't even care if he did do something, but you're punishing yourself. So I look at it as freedom for yourself. That's how I perceive forgiveness. It doesn't mean that if someone has really wronged me, that I will ever engage with them again. But that holding that anger actually does me a disservice in how I want to show up in the world. Thank you. Beautiful question. Thank you. Aicha, you have your hand up. I think is it pronounced Aicha?
Yes. Hello. Good evening.
Good evening.
Thank you so much. This is actually a subject that is really very, very useful to everyone in our personal life and the work life, and we deal with it all the time. The change is really fear. Is really it's something that we all fear, but I thought about it in a way. Maybe I thought, for example, when something is imposed on you, it is really difficult to get out of your comfort zone. But if you take it as your own decision, for example, if somebody, supposing something that I experienced in the past, somebody wants to separate with you, and then you just make it your own decision. Mm-hmm. Before he even, if you think it's not working for you, you do it. Yeah. So when you take the decision to do it, things get much easier. And then you just kind of, well, this is my change. It's my responsibility. I get on with it. I make sure I make success out of it. And I suppose when it happens to you, if you take it as your own decision and you make a success out of it, then it's much easier. I suppose that's just one experience.
No, I think that's right. I think that's the getting out of your comfort zone, right? As you said, right, to make a decision. I'm going to make a decision to do something.
Yes,
that's exactly.
Even when at the beginning wasn't your choice, but because you think, well, at the end I might as well get on with it, because if it has to happen, I might as well do it myself and just get it done. And then when you start in this process, things look much easier, and then it doesn't really last long, and then you just do it. You just do it because you think you have to do it.
I love that, because to me that's the tool, and you must have used this in your life a couple of times, that you know that you can flex out of that fear zone, because that's where people get stuck, right? Is the
absolutely that's my goal, absolutely, yeah.
It's a great skill.
That's something I want to share with you. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. It's a very interesting subject. Thank you very much.
Welcome. Yeah, you're welcome. Yes.
Okay, we have a question from Suleiman.
Yes, but first of all, Tanya, thanks a lot for this awesome masterclass. It was very, very interesting subject, talking about change. And the fact that to be aware that the only constant is change. Well, if you remember when we gave us the exercise about where we localize ourselves, in which zone, and I answered you that realize that I'm in the 4th zone at the same time. I'm in the comfort zone, the fear zone, the learning zone, and the growth zone. So how can we explain that someone can be on the 4th zone at the same time? So if you can tell me it's normal, we'll have to go to see a doctor
So
for this.
can I ask you a question? No, you do not have to go see a doctor, I promise. Could you tell me, do you experience those 4 zones at one time, or is it like in a week I might fluctuate between those zones?
Yes, I can say in a week.
Okay.
Because I have different activities, and there are some activities when I'm in the growing zone, the all of activity and the comfort zone. So I don't know if it means that I have to make some decisions to put myself more in the growing zone than the comfort zone, because yeah. I'm living this dilemma at this moment in my life.
Okay. So, and is this regarding one? So, is this regarding one specific change, or is this multiple aspects of your life?
I can talk more about professional change.
Professional change.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I loved what Sarah said, right? About, you know, recognizing, like she can see in retrospect that she might have been in the comfort. She's been at her company for a long time. She might have been in the comfort zone, and, you know, moving through the fear zone. I think as you, I don't know what your situation is, but I'm gonna make up a situation. So let's say I'm at work, and maybe I'm up for a promotion. I wanna get promoted. And so I might stay in the comfort zone because, gosh, I don't really want to manage more people. I don't know, can I really do that? I'm not sure. And then when I get into the fear zone, I might actually push up, like my manager says, no, we think you're ready. I might push against them and say, yeah, no, I'm not sure. I might have a day where I'm like, gosh, that was great. I led a coworker and they had really great results. And I might be in the growth zone then, and then I might hit another obstacle and I might run back to my comfort zone. So I think you can have like this be a spectrum. So you don't have to be in one or the other all the time. The most beautiful thing for me is just the awareness of it, right? Is to know if I'm feeling stuck or I'm feeling like I'm really defensive, like, okay, well, where am I across this spectrum? You know, am I in the car in reverse in the fear zone? And then you can have a conversation with yourself. No doctor needed. You just have a conversation with yourself, or a coach or a friend or a coworker or a mentor, you know, somebody, again, thinking about your network, who's in your network that you trust, and ask, you know, like, hey, I'm finding myself not sure. So yeah, I think it is normal. And I don't know if that's an example that worked to help you, but yeah, it is more of a spectrum versus a linear process.
Great. So thanks a lot. Unfortunately, we have the diamond community, so I can.
Okay. Well, thank you by the way, thank you for the diamond community, because I heard from the small groups how supportive this community is actually for people. And thank you for all of you for what you do and all the people behind the scenes that I have.
Thanks a lot.
Yes.
Thanks, Tanya. Great.
All right. And I'll see you at the wrap up on Saturday.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Amazing. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, everybody, for your cooperation. And for
So,
participating.
avant de terminer, je voulais juste rappeler que demain, on a une présentation par Soufiane et Raji. Ça sera à 20h aussi. Et puis, il va nous parler de la réinvention en entreprise. Comment créer un environnement favorable pour favoriser la créativité et la réinvention des employés. Donc, on se voit demain, Inch'Allah, et bonne soirée tout le monde.
Merci infiniment, Loubna, pour la modération de cette rencontre. Very, 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 you did it. As usual. Very, very great. So thanks a lot, Lumna. Et donc rendez-vous demain, Inch'Allah, pour la suite de notre congrès. Bihawlillah.
Bye.
Bonne soirée, cher diamant.
Bonne soirée. Bye.
Allez, au revoir.
Au revoir.